Now, if you're like me, maybe you're a little intimidated by Waterslide decals. Well, today I'm going to show you some tips and some tricks that I've learned applying some Waterslide decals so you guys can get into these awesome things to step up your kits. Let's get it. What's going on, everybody? Plasma Therapist here, helping you guys to build happiness with plastic model kits. Now, if this is your first time here and you want to learn about the mental health side of Gunpla or just watch some therapeutic build videos, some tips, some tricks, and tutorials, be sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell notification so you don't miss a thing. Now, Waterslide decals are something that I just recently got into and found out how easy they really are to apply to your kits, but you need a couple of tools to get started and to be able to apply them correctly. So in today's video, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys some things that I've learned applying Waterslide decals. So without further ado, let's head over to my workstation. Alright, so we're all set up with our decals and our piece, but we need a few other things to be able to apply these decals because they're a little bit different from sticker style decals. First thing you're going to need actually is a hobby knife, and the reason being is that you actually have to cut out the decals off of the sheet. And so after you have your hobby knife, make sure you either have a cutting mat like this or maybe some cardboard or something that you wouldn't mind cutting through or cutting into a little bit, because you want to make sure you cut the decal out cleanly. Once you're done cutting out the decal, in order to make sure you can hold onto it properly, get yourself a pair of tweezers. These are ones that I had in a hobby kit that I bought a while back when I first got into it. They're great for holding your holding your decal while you slide the rest of the decal off and onto your piece. Now, because these are Waterslide decals, the next thing you're gonna need is a dish for your decals to set in with some water. A dish like this will be really good because it's perfect for a lot of these small decals. It's nice and shallow, and it's really got enough space for you to work with. If you have larger decals, I'd recommend something like a soap dish like this, where you can still have a shallow container like this, fill it up with water, and let your decals sit in there if they need to, if they have to soak, depending on the type of decals that you have. So once you're done with that, the next thing you're gonna need to clean up actually is some paper towels and a cotton bud. Reason being is that once you get your decal onto your piece, you're gonna use the cotton bud to roll off the excess water out of the piece. So when you're done putting your decal on, it's nice in the spot that you want it, use a cotton bud to take off the excess water. And I say have the paper towel handy because depending on the types of decals that you have, it might not need to sit in the water for very long. So what you'll do is you'll dip it in the water for a few seconds, then set it on your paper towel to dry up a little bit of that excess water while still allowing that decal some time to separate from the blue paper that it's on. Lastly, people generally use toothpicks and things like that, but personally I recommend a bamboo skewer like this for moving your decals around. Reason being is that unlike a toothpick, which generally tends to get your hand a little bit crampy, I prefer a bamboo skewer like this because you can hold it like a pencil. It's a little bit more comfortable and more natural to move things around, as opposed to, let's say this Q-tip was more like my skewer, or sorry, like my toothpick, and tends to kind of get a little bit crampy because you don't have that extra support off your hand here. So generally prefer bamboo skewers. These are kind of a shorter length, more comfortable, and if you want, you can tape these up, give yourselves a little bit of extra grip to work with, making them a little bit more comfortable for some of those longer sessions. So those are all the tools that you need. What I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna get a piece cut out, and I'm gonna walk you through the process of actually applying your Waterslide decal. So now, before I get into actually cutting out the decals, I want to take a minute to talk about how you can know when to and where to apply these decals. Now, I went ahead and tested a couple out just to make sure I can get comfortable with these, but when you buy a decal sheet like this, it's gonna come full, all in one together. And what you can do is if you buy one specifically for a kit, a lot of times what's gonna happen is the decals are gonna match the ones on your manual. Because these are the ones for the wing, and this waltz wing vercod, these aren't gonna match exactly, so I can get a little creative on how I wanna add these decals. And so if it's your first time doing Waterslide decals, I'd recommend picking up the set that's specifically for the model kit that you have. And then as you get more comfortable, you can pick up the own kits that you wanna use and then kind of mix and match how you wanna go. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna cut out this little white section here. I don't know if you guys can see that. Let's see if I can zoom in. There. Kind of just catching the shine just like that. I'm gonna cut out these decals here. I'm gonna apply them to the little inside part of the wings right here. So what I'll do is I'm gonna cut them out and then we'll jump back into dipping it and then applying it. Okay, so I got my decal all cut out. Because it's a small one, I'm gonna use my small little container here. I'm just gonna dip it in the water, let it sit for a few seconds. Make sure when you put your decal in the water, you push it down to the bottom so that the top part of the decal gets wet. After a few seconds, I'm gonna set it off to the side onto my paper towel to absorb a little bit of the excess moisture, but it's still kind of working here on the paper. So while I set it off to the side, I'm gonna cut the camera, I'm gonna zoom back in so I can kind of show you guys what I'm looking for when I'm ready to apply my decal. Okay, so I have the decal here. I'm kind of floating it up a little bit. What I just wanted to show you is that when the decal is ready to go, it moves off the blue backing like that. So now that I know that it's ready to go, I'm gonna go ahead and fix my focus here. And then I'm gonna go ahead and apply it to my piece. And all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold it right kind of where I want it. Take my skewer. It's okay if your piece gets a little wet. That water helps kind of make the piece flow a little better. Just slide it off like that. Now, it's not perfect. It's not where I want it to, but that's kind of the great thing about Waterslide decals is even though it's not exactly where I want it to go, what I can do is I can just wet the tip of my skewer like this, and I can slowly start to move the decal into place. This is already starting to dry a little bit. It's definitely getting hotter in the summer, so the decals are drying a little bit faster. But once I get it all set, I just push my decal kind of right where I want to. And once I kind of have it right where I want it, we're gonna take our cotton bud. First, we're gonna dab up all the excess water around the outside of it, just taking it up. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna roll our Q-tip on our decal. I can roll halfway, spin it around, and then roll the rest of the way. And the reason you wanna roll as opposed to just push is that the rolling motion still squeezes out the water without possibly moving or shifting that decal out of place once you get it there. Once that's done, it is all set and your decal is finally in place. All right, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna cut out another one here. I'm gonna do a slightly larger one so I can show you guys with a larger container, but then I'm gonna show you guys some other things you can use to help make the process a little easier. Okay, so I got my next decal all lined up, and as you guys saw, I had a little bit of trouble getting the decal into place, partly because the paint that I have is a matte paint already. I went ahead and top coated it, so it's kind of a little bit sticky there, and also because it's really hot, it's drying out really quickly, so the decal is having trouble kind of moving into place. And so one of the things you can use is a decal solution. And so the one that I have here is the Tamiya Mark Fit decal solution. There are different ones such as the Mr. Hobby decal solution, but basically what you do is it comes with a brush just like this, all right? And what you do is you brush it on the piece where you want the decal to go, put your decal down, shift it around to where you need it to go, and then add another layer of your decal solution to get it to stay in place. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go ahead and demonstrate it so you can just kind of see how it goes. So first thing is I'm gonna dip my decal into my container like that, push it down to the bottom to make sure the top of the decal gets wet. Let it sit for a few seconds while I set my paper towel up. I'm gonna pull it out and set it off to the side to dry a little bit. Take a minute to test it. Okay, so it's already separated from the paper. I'll give it a few more seconds. While that happens, I'm gonna take my solution here, give it a good couple inversions, not like a real shake or anything. I'm just gonna apply a couple drops to kind of where I want it to go. So what that's gonna do is that's gonna help the decal, it's gonna stick to that instead of the plastic. So when I go ahead and slide this off, that decal solution is gonna help just a little bit keep that moisturized. Now, as you can see, that really did not go down well, but with that decal solution, you could see I'm having a much easier time moving this piece around to where I want it to go. And so don't want it to go off the edge like that. And so I'm just gonna shift it back just a little bit. And It's gonna be a mix of kind of push and pull. So once you kind of get it to where you want it to be, just like that there, I'm gonna go ahead with a cotton bud again and roll it out. And these longer decals are really important that you roll out, because again, if you push it or if you just try to just drag it across, you're gonna either tear the decal itself or you're gonna shift it out of place from where you wanted originally. So now that I got that in place, I'm gonna take a little bit more of that Decal Solution. Because this one is the setting solution, I can go ahead and apply it over the top, just like that. Give it a few seconds there, let it sit, and then one more time over with a Q-tip. There you have it. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about here is Mark Softer or Decal Softening Solution. And what this is for decals that are on a curved surface, or maybe even going over a panel line. What you want to do is you want to use some of this solution to help it to set where it needs to be a little bit better. And so since I have it already kind of where I want it to go, I'm just dabbing on a little bit on top of the decal. Now, I'll let it sit for a few seconds to kind of really get it to soak in. And just like the decal, the other decal solution that we have here, all we want to do is when we're done, just kind of roll it off there. And what that's going to do is it's going to make sure that that decal conforms really well to whatever curved surface that it's on. And again, if it's over a panel line, what it's going to help it do is it's going to recess it into that panel line a little bit so that it sits properly. So now that the decal setting solution is all done, leave it just like that, and I'll go ahead and apply some Mark Fit or decal fixing solutions there. So once that's all done and dry, go ahead and just apply your usual top coat when you're done with all your decals, and your kit will be complete. Hey guys, if you're appreciating this video, leave a like. It lets me know you're finding value in the content. Secondly, if you haven't done so already and you want to stay up to date on any time I come out with a new video, be sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell notification so you don't miss a thing. Lastly, let me know if you guys want to see a different tutorial. Maybe there's something I haven't covered yet. Maybe there's something I missed or something you guys want to learn about. Let me know in the comments down below. And finally, how do you guys like my new look? Pretty cool, right? Anyway, let's head back and wrap up today's video. So there you have it guys, my quick tutorial on Waterslide decals to get you guys up and running using these awesome tools to step up your kits. Don't forget to tune in next week to see the final reveal of the wing vercod that I've been working on for a little while now. Anyway, that's it for me today guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you found some value in this content. Remember, take care of yourselves, take care of the people around you, and I'll see you in the next one.